The Conservative did make some gains in Ontario, with the Conservatives leading or elected in 53 electoral districts, an increase of 16 from dissolution. The Liberals still managed to take more seats in Ontario, with 69 as of this morning. Now, much of that came in Toronto and the surrounding 905 region. The Liberals are elected or leading in 40 of the region's 53 ridings. Let's now bring in John Moore. He's the host of More in the Morning and Newstalk 1010. Good morning and thanks for your time, John. Toronto, as we know, remained mostly Liberal. Was this a surprise or was it mostly expected?
By the time we got to Election Day, I think it was expected. But, you know, flash backward 2 months and nationally, the Conservatives were heading for such a massive majority. They were starting to talk about sitting on both sides of the House. And what are we going to do with all of these MPs who can't be in the caucus or can't be a secretary? And then everything just flipped. And as Colton was just saying, I mean, it used to be with the landscape we would have over the last 20 years, if you had 37% support, you could form a government. And of course, you know, the Tories were way above that. The Liberals were languishing in the high teens, and the switch flipped. I think about a lot of the very personal stories here, actually. People who have been on my show, for example, Karen Stintz was running for the Conservatives in Eglinton Lawrence, and I turned to her and said, well, you're a lock, you know, you're going to win. Yvonne Baker was running for the Liberals. I said, you know what, it's probably not going to work out for you. Look where we are this morning, and you have to wonder all the plans these people made and all of the intentions they had, but the voters had other ideas.
Right. If we just zoom out a little bit out of Toronto and talk about the GTA area, Conservatives have made some gains over there, either elected or leading in at least 16 of those 57 ridings. What were the main spots in which they were the most popular?
Oh, gosh, I'd have to have my map in front of me. But I know that if memory is serving, that Mississauga went red and Brampton went blue.
Yeah.
But it was a net gain of 5 seats the last time I checked on the charts for the Conservatives. And watching the board last night while I was part of the national broadcast for CTV was fascinating because there was no real pattern. I mean, some ridings that were Liberal were flipping Conservative, and then you'd think, well, that's a gain, except then a Conservative riding would flip, and you'd realize that, you know, we're still fairly closely matched. But, I mean, it was so many surprises all through last night and all through the last 6 weeks.
Let's also talk about another factor here. We know that the progressive vote has literally all gone to the Liberals right now. The NDP struggled to pick up seats in Toronto despite winning seats in the last election. What really changed for them here, John?
I think it was just that, you know, there were people who were either voting Conservative or wanted to vote against the Conservatives. And the NDP finally did what people have always tried to persuade them to do in the past. They said, screw this, we can have our principles and the Liberal and the NDP lose, or, you know, we can go and vote for the Liberal candidate. And that put the NDP on the altar. And as we saw, I mean, 7 seats, not even enough for party status in Ottawa, and shut out in Toronto.
All right, we'll leave it at that. John Moore is the host of More in the Morning and Newstalk 1010. Thank you for your time, John.
Thank you, Akshay.